All right. I am now reporting in from my new secret lair, which has moved out of my sister's house and into a campground. You can see my trailer over here. um, we've been out at a lake here near Prince George, sort of waiting out the evacuation. Once again, we're going to be talking to Mayor Krakowka in about 1 minute. I'm just um, giving some updates while I have you here, which is that there's not a lot of updates. Um, the As best as I know, nothing real new to report. Fire seems to be holding. Crews are working. There's a few more helicopters on the job. There's a few more people doing fire suppression work, uh, but nothing major. Winds have not shifted and are blowing the fire to town or anything like that. So, having stolen all that, which may have been Mayor Sumner, I'm going to go over to him. Mayor Daryl Krakowka, how are things going in Tumbler Ridge?
Hey Trent, good thanks.
Okay, so like I say, there's not a lot new that I've seen. Is there anything new to report on the ground there?
Yeah, like this morning or this afternoon, I guess now, like the wind's still blowing from the west to the east, so still the light breeze is going east, which is good for us with the fire because it's obviously going away from Tumbler. Um, Not a whole bunch to update. I know SPCA did arrive in the Tumbler Ridge this morning or this afternoon to start helping with feeding fish and stuff, and then retrieving some of the cats if they're able to get back with their families. We did see a big plume of smoke yesterday afternoon about I think it was 3:30 or 4 o'clock. Lots of concern about that. We've seen comments on Facebook and that on the social media. EOC reached out to BC Wildfire Services and just to get confirmation on what they were seeing, and that ended up being out by Boot Lake. With the wind going east, it was able to pick the fire up at that end of the fire at that part, and that's where the plume was coming from. So the pictures that you see over the Ridge Mountain there, that was a perception that it was that close, but it was actually out by Boot Lake. But to me, it shows that the fire is still there, still approximately 4 kilometers from Tumbler Ridge. My understanding, BC Wildfire Services is still working on the guard at the west end of that fire, the closest to us.
Okay, and I mean, you've been there. Well, since this has started. So tell me how you're doing just on the ground, and the rest of the people who are there in an official capacity. Um, how are they holding up?
Yeah, so I don't. Again, I'll speak to it. I don't deal with EOC a lot. I'm not in the room and stuff. Obviously, we do pass in the hallway when I'm leaving town hall and stuff. And you make sure you say good morning and stuff, and make sure how's everybody feeling and stuff. And I mean, obviously, they have part of the EOC is that, but yeah, everybody seems to be doing really well. I mean, they are working really hard behind the scenes. We don't see it all. So, but yeah, it seems like the morale in the EOC room is good, especially with all the workloads they have. I mean, they're working 12 to 14-hour days in the EOC.
Okay, I talked to Forrest yesterday, the information officer for BC Wildfire Services. He said that crews, with the winds kind of changing, crews need about 48 to 72 hours on the ground to be able to build the break, to be able to get rid of some of that fuel that's still standing. So they've had pushing 48 hours now. Have there been any discussions recently about when people can start thinking about coming back to town?
Yeah, not that I've been involved in. I'm not sure. I know the update that we get from the EOC with mayor and council, that question's been asked a few days ago. So I imagine when there is that whether it's the fire guard and stuff, that BC Wildfire Services fear they have a safe containment there. I imagine that discussion will happen with EOC and BC Wildfire Services, and then I imagine council would be updated and how that looks in regards to bringing residents back. So for timeline, Trent, right forward, there's been no discussion about the returning of the residents to Tumbler Ridge.
Okay. Any rumors that you've seen flying around in the last 24 hours that you feel the need to shoot down?
Yeah, pardon me. I haven't really been on social media besides sharing the post from the district website or district Facebook page. But I'll speak to a few things. I've shared some stuff, and people seem to be, and maybe on council pages too, I'm not sure, but commenting back on my page or asking for clarity or something like that. I'll be honest, the best place to look is the district website, the district Facebook page. And if you have questions, if you put it on there, you'll get a faster response for sure from my side, as I'm not able to dialogue into them one by one all the time throughout the day. But I know I've been reached from some residents that went on to Grand Prairie, whether they went through Dawson or in through the back way to Grand Prairie, and went to Dawson, realized Dawson was full. Instead of going to Fort St. John, they moved on to Grand Prairie. And they've reached out. I've had a couple reach out in regards to looking for some assistance, ESS and registration support in regards to accommodations and food and stuff. I know some that I've talked to. You'll be able to pull it up on some social media sites that I've tried to reply to a couple residents asking for email so I can actually forward it on to the right chain. And they believe, it's about trying to hide it. It's not. It makes it easier when it's an email chain and not screenshots of a Facebook question. But I did the Facebook, take a picture of the Facebook message and attach it into an email and forward it on. But that is something that myself has been working on probably for about the last 3 days. We knew we had residents there and they'd reached out. And we're just being told, like the last reply I have, it's not from today, so I'm still waiting to hear back. Earlier when I first asked, was interprovincial concerns that they were asking people to come back. There's lots of space still in Fort St. John, my understanding is, and some rooms have opened up in Dawson. That's what they've told us. I'm not involved in, never mind our own EOC, but even with ESS, I am not. I don't have a contact there where I can talk to someone back and forth. So again, we're waiting for that clarification. I sent it off again this morning from one of the residents that had asked on that social media post. So I've took the screenshot, sent it off to see if we can get some more information for the residents that did move on to Grand Prairie. So I want them to know that they think we're not doing or I'm not doing anything, but I 100% looking out for all residents. Try to do everything, every question I receive. If I don't have the answer, I am trying to get the answer, including trying to get some kind of assistance for them and some of the seniors that are there that may need some mobility assistance in regards to walking mechanisms and stuff is one of the questions that were raised this morning. So I just want that out there as well, Trent.
Okay, I know that not your ball game, but for people who haven't yet registered, why are we asking people to register with ESS?
Yeah, well, one, they obviously location of residence, but registering through ESS, if you don't need any assistance, you can just register and you're fine. But if you need assistance, you're going to have to show up at one of the reception areas to get lodging and food. So it's to know where all the residents went to, so we know that the people that did get out have locations.
Awesome. And I mean, I guess here's a question just directly for you, because you've been on the ground for through this all. I mean, how are you finding this? Is it stressful? Is it was it just sort of like, oh, this smoke is making me nervous, but now that it's cleared off, like give me a sense of how you're doing personally.
Yeah, personally, I mean, I'm doing well. Could use some more sleep. Slept for about 2.5 hours since Thursday. So yeah, I think it's stressful. Not a job that I expected I'd be doing in 7 months being elected as the mayor. To me, I don't wish that on anybody. I know we're not the only people with evacuation order and stuff like that, but yeah, there's a lot of work that you don't realize or you have to learn on the fly. How that I've been on the other side of EOC, not as a mayor, but as boots on the ground as a volunteer firefighter and stuff. So trying to realize that we're not in the EOC, we're not doing their job. We station at a location here if they need us, and to get the information out is really what our big job is and stuff. So yeah, it's a huge learning experience. I've had lots of directors from the PRD call me, um, mayor from Dawson Creek, Darcy Dover, Lily Hanson. I've had some people that I know personally that are part of regional districts on Vancouver Island reach out, just to give their input of how they've dealt with things and stuff. So yeah, it's great, but it's a little different. Definitely dealing with an evacuation order and not doing it before.
Okay, perfect. Having, I don't think anything else that needs to be addressed. I'd like to thank you for taking the time to talk to us again. We'll probably do this again tomorrow, and hopefully, there's not a lot of new information in the sense of fires blowing up, blah blah blah. Rain in the forecast, so that's a good thing. Yeah, so just thanks for being there, keeping tabs on everything that's happening, and passing it on to us.
Yeah, and thanks for the opportunity, Trent. Appreciate it. I'll get it out to the residents.
Okay, that was Mayor Daryl Krakowka giving us a boots on the ground report from what's happening in Tumbler Ridge on this Monday, June 12th, I think, at 2:30. So thank you to Daryl, and thank you to all who've been watching.